is legit, dude. 24 years old, and this guy has like 16 properties in just Arizona alone, man. This guy is doing raps. He's getting unqualified people homes. So people are like, man, I don't have 3x income. I don't have perfect credit. I don't have a huge down payment. This guy's getting them into homes. This guy's doing it creative. He's doing it the best way possible. Super smart guy. I'm super excited to have him here. I'm honored. You should be honored. We got Joe Swingle, number 3, on live. What's going on, brother?
What's up, dude?
How are you? How's everything?
I'm doing great, man. Just taking care of kids, bro, all
That's
day.
super cool, man. You got your dad mode, man.
Yeah,
You're dad by day, real estate tycoon by day. Um, you know, smooth Jack Daniels lover by night.
love it, dude. Yeah, you can see that I've been busy here
That's super
from
cool.
the black circles under my eyes.
That's totally fine. Well, let these guys know, one, who you are, and then I let them know that we're actually going to do a live seller call subject to Scottsdale home as
Oh
well.
yeah, yep,
Um, and it's a messy story. And then down the road, we're also going to follow up and talk about this sub two that I'm living in right now, broadcasting live from a sub two home in Glendale.
yeah.
We're about to get a Scottsdale sub two home, and then, God willing, the Gilbert sub two home.
The Gilbert, the big one,
That
the big
one's what, realtor owner though,
realtor
agent owner.
seller. So
Man,
got to go through some hurdles with them,
it's
but
gonna be okay.
they're warmed up, so
Too
we might be
easy.
able to pull
Well,
it off.
tell us a little bit about yourself, man. Who are you, Joe? What's your background?
Yeah,
Briefly
dude.
describe yourself, man.
Well, professionally speaking, I've been at least dabbling in real estate for about 6 years now. I've got I started with just wholesaling. In fact, I didn't even know what we were doing when I started because I just got invited by a mutual friend of a friend uh,
Mm-hmm.
who who said, "Hey, you should come do this thing with me," because we had hung out and he thought I'd be good at talking with sellers. Basically, was what his idea was, but I had
Right.
no idea what we were doing. So we ended up door knocking pre foreclosures. And
Okay.
first day I went out there, I thought we were like issuing a loan or something. I had no idea we were there to even buy the house. And this was a smaller company here in Phoenix, run by a few guys who've been involved in real estate for a while. And
Okay.
so it wasn't very sophisticated. I didn't really know the ins and outs of foreclosures or how to help people who wanted to keep their home. So we were
Mm-hmm.
just going out talking to people, uh, as the buyer. So that's how we were picking up deals is door knocking pre foreclosures. We would see an opportunity. I would call our manager and he would come and close it. Pretty soon after doing that, I was getting comfortable with the numbers and closing them. But even after doing this for almost a year, I still had no idea how they were actually making money in the
Right.
business. I was just locking stuff up. I didn't know that they were going and selling the contract to another
Mm-hmm.
investor later and that's how I was getting paid. I kind
Are you
of knew
still
bits and pieces. What was that?
are you still like cool with these guys, or like did you guys like cut ties?
Mm, I bought a deal. I bought a deal from one of them recently.
Okay.
So this year, I actually bought a sub two deal from one of those guys this year. So
Right.
I used to work for the guy, and now I'm buying deals from him, which is kind of
Oh,
interesting.
okay.
But
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, did you get like, because you're like, well, I don't know how these guys are getting paid on the deal, so it's like, how are you getting paid on the deal? Like,
well,
were
they
you
were
getting paid
paying
on the deal?
me. Yeah, they were paying me like 25% of whatever they made off of it. So
Okay.
that's all I really knew. I was just focused on generating more leads. I had
Right.
no idea about the actual logistics. Like I said, I would see bits and pieces. And ultimately, after however many months of doing it, I learned, oh, these guys are buying it on paper. They're not closing. And then they're
Yeah.
selling a contract to an end user who's actually going to bring the cash and they're making the difference. And so that was
Sure.
my exposure to wholesale. And I
Okay.
worked with them for a little bit, got out of doing it with them, did some deals on my own, joined another company, did deals with them, left them, been doing it on my own for a few years now.
Yeah. And you actually were running around in Pace Morby's circle before Pace Morby was Pace Morby, sub two
Yeah.
community leader, mastermind
Yeah.
extraordinaire.
Yeah. So when I left that company, I was doing some deals on my own, and then I got an opportunity to work for Cody Sperber
Oh
with
yeah, that's
his,
right.
that was when they were just starting Green Elephant development. And now a lot of people have done deals with them, but when they were first starting out, they had a bunch of interviews, and I saw it and I just hopped in and was like, hey, I'll try to do this with them. So I worked
Right.
with them for like less than a year pretty much. And then I
Okay.
ended up leaving them. But in the meantime, while I was with them, I met Pace because he came into the office to talk with us about stuff. So I got connected to Pace. We ended up closing a few creative deals that actually because of Pace, I think we were able to bring like 3 deals with Green Elephant that were not going to work out to the closing table because of using the creative finance strategies. So,
Okay.
he came in, he talked to us. I ended up going on appointments and bringing him with me to watch him close somebody creatively. That was my first exposure um, to creative finance, was with Green Elephant Development through Pace. So yeah, I got to sit at the table and just watch him work, and drive around town with him, and it was a really good experience because it really opened my eyes to the possibilities uh, of investment and what you're capable of doing in this realm, and then also uh, on a more just relational standpoint. Just I got to see how someone uh, could be an investor and still be very transparent with their sellers. I thought Pace did a really good job at just talking to the sellers really normally and treating them, very nicely, and then
Yeah.
ultimately being super transparent with them about what was going on in the transaction. So
Sure.
that was my first exposure to that too, and it really opened my eyes to, oh, I actually want to be an investor
Yeah.
because there is a right way to do it, where you're actually doing what's right for the seller too and other people.
Yeah. Because that's a lot of things too. Is like wholesaling does get like a bad rep. It's it feels
Yeah,
a little scammy. It feels a little slimy. Because I mean, on by definition, I mean you're buying homes pennies on the dollar, and it's not like
yeah,
3 cents on the dollar. It's 40,
yeah,
60, 70 cents depending on the market. The we're at right now, like you gotta really offer like 70, 80. Like you gotta go
yeah.
higher. You gotta really have a good end buyer in your
Hmm.
pocket to do that. But it does get a bad rep, and it does feel a little dirty whenever you're like, yeah, man, I gotta tell this guy that maybe his house is worth XYZ on the market, but I'm not going to come anywhere near that. And some people are in hard situations, so that's why I think it's pretty cool about creative financing is there's a lot of levers you can pull. You can pull the
Yeah,
interest rate, you can pull the down payment, you can pull the seller financing. You can do a lot of different things to make it kind of fit everybody's situation.
yeah.
So do you like creative finance? Do you like sub two way better than the
I
knocking
love it.
foreclosures, or would you go back out there and still
No,
still
I,
hit some
I
foreclosures?
know knowing what I do now, when I get time, which has been very, has not been. I haven't had a lot of time lately,
Yeah. You got a
but
kid, man.
got 2 kids, starting a company with Tanner,
Oh yeah,
for
the
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 dispo
company.
side of things, doing the podcast. I mean, it's so much, but I will still, when I have time, go out and knock pre-foreclosures
Yeah.
because that's awesome. Knowing what I do now, I'm in a way better position to help them. If they want to keep their home, we can modify it for them. And I don't have a problem doing that. And so I like doing the pre-foreclosures more than anything, probably. I'm
Yeah. And
great
we
at
could
those.
talk we could talk
Yeah.
loan mods and stuff down the road too, man. This
Yep.
there's so much information that you just have in that fuzzy head of yours.
And that little fuzzy head. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
Um
yeah. So, I mean, I think creative is amazing. Like it opened
mm,
up a huge door for me to help people more, especially you bring up foreclosures, but especially the foreclosures. Like if you can take over their mortgage payments and the loan stays in their name. So ultimately they're going to get the benefits of having gotten that loan caught up and then having someone else pay it for the next year. And
yeah.
they're going to be in a position where their credit's healed so that they can buy again. So with foreclosures, especially, it almost always makes more sense for them long term to do the sub two because um, even if they have equity, because it helps build their credit back and you can pay them their equity in installments. So they can still get the money out of the home, but also take away the benefit of the credit repair. So it made learning the creative side of things made everything in investing easy. And like you said, wholesale, it kind of feels like scammy a little bit. That's definitely true with some guys, but then in the same token, you meet a guy like Stephen Rockwell or Pace, and you watch them work with sellers and be transparent about what they're doing in the transaction. And, I've even heard Stephen tell people, yeah, I wholesale deals, tell sellers that. But he also knows everything in the business. So he can go to your door and be like, I wholesale, I fix and flip, I buy and hold, whatever makes the most sense for you. I prefer to do it this way or this way, but let's hear your situation out. And then he'll end up getting them what they need, even if he is wholesaling it. So there's a right way even to wholesale. And after meeting some bigger, some of the bigger dogs in real estate, you realize, oh, there's definitely a right way to do the business. And then there's also a wrong way to do the business, which we've all seen as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. So, we're gonna jump on. We're gonna talk about your company with Tanner in just a second. But the seller is eager.
Let's do it.
He's like, bro, you guys calling or what?
Let's
so
do it, bro.
I'm gonna hit you up on a call. Then I'll patch him into it. Introduce us, and we'll see what's up. So let's see how we do a phone call in this situation. This is gonna be weird.
Cool.
All right, let me back this all out. All right, cool. So I got you here. Add. Let me figure out this guy's phone number.
So you don't need me. You don't need me to mute my phone or anything.
No, you should be good. Actually, I can mute you. I think.
Yeah. Maybe like the computer.
Actually, so there's a little microphone at the bottom of your screen. I think next to the camera. Just click on that, and then it'll have like the slash. Awesome, perfect. And we're right here. Let me copy this guy's number, technology, and all this fun stuff. Man, this guy's super cool. So what we're about to do, guys, is about to call a seller. This guy was originally on market with Keller Williams. They brought me the deal. Their agent brought me the deal, but her brokerage backed out of it like last second and was like, "We're not doing sub two. We don't talk sub two." And for some reason, it won't let me copy this dude's number. But basically, they fired their agent and was like, we want to talk about this more. So actually, I'm just gonna dial it in because this is stupid. Can't copy a phone number. But Joe's gonna answer everything for this guy. It's gonna be super cool. All right, one sec.
Hello.
Hey, is Aaron?
Yes, he.
Awesome. Let me patch Joe through real quick here. If I know how to do that. All right, I think we're all on the same line. Joe, can you hear me and Aaron? Oh, Joe, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, there we go. Awesome, Aaron. It's great to meet you. Yeah, definitely want to make sure that you get all your questions answered on the transactional side of this, and then anything you have for me. But kind of catch me up to speed on the situation that you're kind of looking in. So you guys were listing it on the market, and then what ended up happening?
Yeah, we're in the market. Working with Devaney and Keller Williams. We've been getting offers. Probably gotten a handful at least, but they're all like subject to. And they were just pretty adamant against them. I've done some research myself online.
Okay.
I even talked to another investor the other day.
Okay.
And just talking with her, I don't know, their broker and her mentor, they're at the company. They just said they're not comfortable doing that. And that's kind of something that we're interested in. And Like the other guy I talked to, he was from out of state, so
I think they mentioned like Florida or something like that.
yeah, I was totally comfortable working with him. And like she said, she at least kind of knew you from the company, or you were used to work there. So
Yeah, I was a part of Keller Williams for a little bit, but ended up moving over to EXP because they're more they are a more creative company. They entertain wholesaling and subject to and seller buy or seller carry back wraps, things like that too. So they are more open to all the real estate transactions that are out there. And that's the other thing that's kind of strange is like subject to is it's a financial topic on the board of realtor exam. So I mean, I don't know much more beyond why they wouldn't have entertained it, but
yeah, they're pretty much adamant about it. I mean, yeah, she did kind of present all the offers that we got, and yeah, in most cases, it was a good amount of money, like cash to close, anywhere between like 25 to 60, depending on the person. And then they were just like, the more we asked about it, they were just kind of adamant against it. So I said, well, at this point, I mean, we've gotten plenty of these offers. So if we have to terminate the contract, then that's fine. That's what we'll do. I mean, we've done our research, and like, we're comfortable to move forward with it. And yeah, after for your info, I'd rather be more comfortable, I guess, with this with someone, local than some guy out of state.
No, that's totally understandable too.
That's kind of where we're at now. Yeah.
So my feeling was, and Joe might be able to actually speak on this, but just going off of kind of like what the Florida individual was saying, it sounds more like they were probably going to look to wholesale the transaction. And if you don't know what that is, I mean, it sounds like you already did a bunch of research, so you're super smart on it. But basically, like they were probably going to put you into like a 30 day inspection period while they look for an end buyer type thing. That home is just like perfectly next, like Mayo Clinic and some of the other facilities that I need personally. I'd be moving out from Glendale to that one, so that's why I had a lot of interest in it. But that's just my assumption is that they were kind of gonna maybe find a different end buyer for the situation. Jody, I think you think that might be the same situation. I don't know.
Well, I guess I mean I can't really speak to them too much, but I would love to talk to you maybe about what you liked and then what you maybe were a little skeptical or hesitant about with some of these sub-2 offers. I know for a lot of sellers, and this is all I do is essentially sub-2 stuff because I have people bring me deals like this that need a creative touch, and I've done a lot of these just this year even. So it's not for everybody is the thing I want to point out is sub-2 is not for every person out there. But it's a really, really good tool to have. So pretty much the goal of this call is to just make sure it's actually the right tool that you want to use and then overcome anything that is kind of holding you back or making you uncomfortable with the process itself. Because for the most part, there's no questions that are going to come up that I haven't heard or answered or dealt with before in the past.
Okay. Yeah, I just kind of want to clarify. So, I mean, if we go forward with this, from what I understand, and what they were scaring us, I guess, at the realty thing was, from the previous realtor was just, like they'll call the loan due clause as soon as they find out, and then you'll get foreclosed on.
Sure.
Now, I did some research online. I mean, and I actually even talked to my lender, and they said they'd be open to it, just sending a written request. So, I mean, I wrote a letter to them a couple days ago and faxed it over, but they said it'd be about 5 business days before they get back to me on it.
Right. Yeah. That's a really good question. That's a really good question. So that was probably your main concern, right? Was just some of the hesitancy around the due on sell clause.
Yeah. I'd say that's the first main thing. Yeah.
What kind of loan do you have on the property? Is it VA, FHA, conventional?
It's VA.
It's VA? Okay, cool. So actually, with this property, we would not even be taking title. The way that you do So the due on sale clause wouldn't even be something that goes into effect. Essentially, even if the bank did care, a lot of the times they don't care anyway. And the reason why they usually don't care is because they're like, all right, the payment's getting made. That's how we make money. Because they obviously sell the note to someone on Wall Street, some investment firm, and then they service the loan and they make money that way. So it's not usually in their best interest to call the note due, but in your case with the VA loan, what we do to stay in compliance with them is we would still go through a title company and they would do all the paperwork. They would insure the transaction. They'll do everything. So that's one of your guarantees is we're not doing like a tabletop closing where we sign a deed outside of escrow and then record it. We're actually going to go through a title company. So you're going to have a little bit of comfort there knowing, okay, if the title company is going to do this and they're willing to insure it, then I must be doing something that's very legitimate if they're going to, put their skin on the line to actually close this transaction out. But even furthermore, what I know they're going to do, just because I've worked with them before on this, is they're probably going to do something called an agreement for sale, where we sign. It's basically a land contract. We sign an agreement for sale with you. We get it recorded with the county, and then we do sign a deed with you also. But they just hold on to that until we fulfilled making all the payments on the loan, and then they'll record it. So when we close on the property, that deed will just sit with the loan servicing company, and we'll have our agreement for sale that shows, okay, you did sell the property, ownership is changed, we just didn't record a deed. And then once we finally fulfilled the obligations of the loan, whether that's through a refinance or we pay it off or anything like that, then the loan servicing company will just automatically file the deed. So you won't ever have to be contacted again to do that. It'll just all be automated through the title company and through the loan servicing company.
Okay.
Yeah. So as far as due on sale goes, at that point, there would be 0% chance that they will call the note due because you wouldn't have actually violated any of the terms in your deed of trust because title wouldn't actually literally transfer based on the recorder, the Maricopa County Recorder's Office. It would not show a deed transfer. So you wouldn't actually even be triggering that due on sale clause. But like I said, the due on sale clause, it's something that every lender has in their mortgages. I even own a few mortgages and I have it in mine. And the reason why we have it is not because every time the deed gets transferred, we're like, oh, we got to call this note due. But we have it there so that if the deed does get transferred and then a payment is not made, then we have recourse to be able to foreclose more quickly than if we had to go through a judicial foreclosure or a non-judicial foreclosure procedure. So that clause that's in your deed of trust is actually not even a guarantee that they call the note due, even if you did transfer the deed. But in this case, you wouldn't even be transferring the deed, so it's not real. It won't actually be a factor in this. And the reason why the other company might not have been comfortable with it is because they might not know a good title officer who's experienced with this that could have walked through the process with them. I'm lucky enough where I've gotten to know the right people and they know how to manage a transaction like this.
Okay. All right. I guess my other questions would be, basically all the upkeep and bills, insurance, taxes, that's all going to be paid by, Jordan takes it over or end up renting it out to somebody else.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, obviously you don't want to go and cancel your insurance quite yet. I've had some sellers where we bought their home sub 2 and then they went right away and canceled their insurance. And that actually ended up causing a lot of problems because it turned out there was an issue with the home and we couldn't get new insurance until that issue was solved. But we also couldn't bill the seller's insurance because they already canceled their insurance. So one of the things we would have you sign is, hey, you're responsible for keeping insurance on the place. That just essentially means do not cancel your current insurance policy. What we will do though is we don't keep your insurance in place. We actually go and change it out. We change it out according to whatever the lender wants, essentially. and then we get a new policy so that Jordan can actually be the one that files the claim if something came up in the future. But I say that and let you know ahead of time because we've ran into it in the past where a seller canceled their policy before we closed, and then we ended up not being able to insure the property at all. And it kind of sent the whole thing into a spiral. So we ask that you don't cancel your insurance, that you leave it in place, but we will actually go in and cancel it and restructure it the way that the lender wants, so that Jordan can still, file a claim if something happened and he needed to.
Okay. I mean, the homes, there's no issues with the home.
Yeah.
I don't see why there'd be a claim. So, how long would I keep that in my name?
No, that you don't keep the insurance in your name for any extended period of time. You just keep it through close, and then we change it right away. So, but we just when.
Oh, yeah, that's a comment on the transaction there. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was just bringing it up because I always try to talk about it now because I thought I wouldn't have to talk about it, but there was one transaction where the seller, right when he signed, he basically canceled his insurance, and we ended up running into tons of problems, and we hadn't even closed at that point. So we asked that you just leave it in place, and we'll switch it out. But we switch it out. Yeah, we switched it out pretty much right away, within the first couple months at the latest. Usually you can do it in like a week, but we usually switch it out right away because we obviously want the property to be properly insured.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I actually work in insurance, so that'd be awesome.
Oh, nice.
That'd be awesome. I would cancel that before closing.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and then the other bills and everything else, the HOA, that's all paid by.
Yep. Oh yeah. Well, yeah, he would be the owner. I mean, he wouldn't exactly have a deed that's recorded, but he would have a deed that he can convey to the owner and to for taxes, for insurance, for HOA, for everything. And the only real thing that wouldn't be transferring into Jordan's name is that mortgage itself. That's the only thing. So other than that, every other liability that comes with the home would no longer be something you're dealing with. It would be something that Jordan has to kind of take care of.
Okay. And I don't have to worry about doing the payments or anything like that. That's something you would handle, or that you guys set up for like a...
Mm-hmm. Usually, well, we can do it. However, I've done it both ways, depending on the seller situation and how they want to structure it. But usually, we just have a loan servicing company literally take care of every payment. So they draft a payment on the first of the month, they mail a check to the lender, and they just do that like clockwork every single month. So it's all automated. There's no need for you to have to ever, obviously you're selling the home. You don't want to be involved with it anymore. There's no reason you would ever have to be brought back into the transaction once it's done, because the loan servicing will take care of the payment. And then obviously Jordan would have like some sort of limited power of attorney with the insurance and mortgage, so that he can actually reach out to the mortgage company and say, hey, I know I'm not this guy, but I have a limited power of attorney dealing only with the mortgage. So I'm allowed to talk to you and make extra payments or refinance the loan or do anything like that. So even if he wants to go and refinance the loan, you won't, even at that point, you won't even have to get brought back into the situation. Jordan will be able to reach out to the lender and literally get a payoff quote from them directly, because he'll have that paperwork.
Okay. Yeah, and so speaking of that, I mean, not that I would need to use my VA eligibility again, but like, I guess I don't want to be stuck on this loan forever. So, I mean, is there like a time frame we can do, like 5 to 10 years, to where you have to refinance, or
Well, the first thing, and you'd have to be able to get a for sure answer is you might have to look at some of your VA eligibility documents. We might even have someone you can talk to about that, because I know you can get another VA loan. It just depends on your entitlement and what your entitlement looks like. But in the same swing, a lot of people will come in and say like, hey, we'll refinance you in 3 years or something. I would love to say that, but if I'm being honest, I usually never guarantee a certain time frame. Obviously, we want to refinance whenever we can, because we'd like to be able to pull money out of the home. But we to guarantee a refinance or a balloon or something isn't super responsible or honest, because truly we don't know where the market's going to be in 5 years. If rates go up or down or left and right, whatever, then, and we say, hey, we'll refinance you in 3 years, and rates don't come down in 3 years, then essentially we would have just been lying to you that, yeah, we can for sure do this in 3 years, when in reality we actually don't know what's going to happen in 3 years. So we'd love to refinance and pull money out. At least me personally, I always am wanting to refinance and pull money out of a property that I own. It's just part of that kind of depends on where the market's at and if there's still equity in the home. So that's kind of why we don't put an exact time frame on it, just because we don't want to. We could tell you 3 years and then lock it up, and then when 3 years comes, if we can't refinance, then that doesn't really do you a good service, being in a spot where you'd have to try to take the home back or something like that.
Okay. And again, like his limited power of attorney is just to solely like refinance the loan.
Yeah, I'll actually, we can actually send you a copy of it. It's literally only 1 page long. It's really a very simple document, and it's even more simple than that, than refining. It's just so that we're allowed to actually go reach out to your lender and actually talk to them without having to call you and then have you call the lender and sign docs, whatever, a third-party doc with them to let us talk to them. We can just tax in this limited power of attorney, and then they'll actually speak with us about the loan instead of us having to go through the whole workaround with you. And it's 1 page, and it only has to do with the property. So it'll say something like, I, the seller, give Jordan with this company the right to speak to insurance, mortgage for this property here. So it's not even a limited power of attorney for mortgages on other properties you might own. It's only having to do with the mortgage on this property in particular.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess the last couple of things, like I said, I mean, they shared a bunch of bad scenarios, but yeah, like what would happen?
Yeah.
You know, if you stop paying on the loan, well, yeah, I guess. So what would happen if, you like missed a payment?
Yeah. If like Jordan missed a payment? Well, I'll tell you what I tell everybody who we buy homes from this way. That would probably be the best thing that ever happened to you. Because then you would just keep the money you got from closing, and you would just get the home right back. Because we don't even have a deed on file. Our deed would be, would not be legitimate anymore. And you already have a bunch of other offers, so you could just go to the next guy. You can take the money you got from us. We don't make a payment. You can go to the next guy, or search for somebody else who could buy stuff too, and then go do the same thing with them. And if they didn't make the payment, then you could just do the same. You could just keep doing that over and over again until you end up selling the home completely or something like that. So, and as investors, we sell homes this way a lot, just because sometimes it makes more sense. So I even own properties where I've sold them to somebody and I left the loan in place. And I've actually had people not make the payments. Granted, these were people who were living there, and they weren't investors, so they didn't, I was kind of taking a risk there. In your case, you're actually working with investors who are doing this every day. But I was willing to take that risk because if they didn't make the payment, I just got the home back and I could go do it again. So that's kind of why I think, you could get really scared about it, but the truth is that would actually be kind of a good thing for you, because you don't have to pay any of the money back that you get paid for the transaction. Once the buyer closes and that money goes to you, it's a done deal.
Okay, yes, so I guess I kind of follow up that one. Yeah, so whatever the cash to close is agreed upon, like, is there any scenario where you have to get that back?
No scenario.
Especially on it.
Yep. Yeah, especially since you're selling to an investor. When you're selling to somebody who's ultimately buying as an investment property, even if they're going to live in it after they buy it, Jordan is ultimately buying this as an investment property. And whenever you're selling a home with owner financing or whatever to an investor, there's absolutely zero other precautions you have to take. Once you sell it to them, all that money they pay you up front, any money they pay you monthly, if you were doing it that way. We're not doing that in this case, but if you were, all those payments, if they stop making them, would belong to you. You'd never have to pay them back.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's truly a done deal. The only thing that'll look different, and because like I said, the title company is going to close it and insure the transaction, your settlement statement will look the exact same as if you closed in a traditional way. The only difference, the only difference is the underlying loan on the settlement statement will just be listed under liens taken subject to, and that's literally the only thing that changes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I know each year for taxes, we get like a tax form, with the interest paid. Like, would I have to file with that, or would Jordan do that?
No, Jordan will take care of that. Yeah. You'll be out of it completely. There may be a few things like right after closing that we're getting taken care of with HOA or with whatever, but at the end of the day, because of that limited power of attorney dealing with that property, we can pretty much send that into the HOA, to the mortgage, and they'll all be allowed. That basically is your permission to let them talk to us in the first place. So as long as we have that, then you will never have to be contacted again about taxes, insurance, mortgage, or HOA.
Okay. I guess one other thing, so like whatever, he like misses the payment, and the lender notifies me, and then we get the house back. There's been some other horror stories where people take it over and then they just gut the house. They take all the cabinets, they take all the AC. Sure. To me that seems kind of crazy if you're gonna attack up front. Just deal and see doesn't make sense to me there. But they're played out by the previous realtors.
Yeah. Well, no, you know what? Obviously you're talking to us, Jordan, he's a bigger name out here among realtors, investors. He owns a solar company, so you know who we are. But let's pretend that we'll actually take this scenario, full course, I guess you could say. If he dropped that money into the place and then took the loan sub 2 and then started gutting things, the worst case scenario for you, this is worst case, if Jordan really is a scumbag and he wants to pay $30,000 to you and try to get it back by stripping the property of whatever he can, which I don't think he could. I don't know if there would be enough value he could take out of it to get that money back. But even if he could or whatever, your worst case scenario is a short sale. It's not even foreclosure. It's not you having to repossess the home and fix it up. Your absolute worst case scenario, if you sold the home to an utter scumbag who did that to you, would be a short sale, which doesn't involve you losing any money, and it involves like a small credit impact for like less than for like 2 years or something. So, and that's only if you're working with someone who's really, really sleazy in the first place, because it would take a lot more work to go, actually strip the home of anything of value than it would to just do honest business, So
and that's, and you've been more honest than, because I asked that question to the guy in Florida, because he's got the best offer at $70,000, but to me it's like, this is almost like too good to be kind of true kind of deal, and then he really wasn't answering that question when I asked him.
Yeah.
So
well,
I tend to not go with him. It's the most money, but it's not. It just doesn't seem right.
Well, I can't speak to him, but I can to me as an investor, and I buy out, and I can even maybe shoot you over a credibility packet of all the deals we've done, and who we've done them with, and even some references and stuff. But I know me as an investor, I would never have paid $70,000 to take over a loan on this house. Not because it's a bad house, but the numbers do not make sense. So from my perspective, again, I can't speak to him because I don't know this investor at all. But from my perspective, it sounds like he was trying to get you under contract and then possibly come back with a lower price later, or try to sell the contract for more. And if he couldn't, just cancel, tie you up for a month or something into a contract. Which I've seen before. I can't speak to him about it. I just know if I was locking up a deal that high, I definitely wouldn't be closing on it, because I don't see any upside there. So that's kind of my opinion. But Jordan,
yeah, he was by far the highest of, the handful that we got, and I just thought it was like, it seems off. And he was the only guy without a state. Everyone else here has been local.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess as a local people, I think we feel the most comfortable with you guys, and thanks for answering the questions. So
of course, brother, we do this a lot, and like I said, we can send you, because I want you to know who we are. Obviously, Jordan has a lot of credibility, but you've never even talked to me. I'm just some guy you're talking to now. So I can even send you some references for me as well, that of people who can maybe vouch and just say, yeah, I did a deal with Joe. He's reasonable and he knows what he's doing and he's honest or whatever. And then, but of course, Jordan has a lot more credibility than even I do, because he's a realtor out here and he owns a solar company out here. So he's got a lot of credibility as well.
All right, sounds good. Appreciate the info. Would it be any issue if we do decide to move forward on an offer that we have our attorney look at it?
Absolutely. That is totally cool. We will, what we can do is Jordan can write up an offer with we'll even put the documents that you don't have to sign right now. We can put some documents in there that the title company will have you sign later, and we'll just put it all in there and we'll send it over to you, and then you can have whoever you want look at it. I would just recommend have somebody who's done a few deals like this before.
Yeah. You still there?
Uh-oh, Joe, did we lose you?
I think we lost him. I hear something's driving now.
Yeah, I think maybe it I don't know what happened here. Let's maybe, I don't know what happened there. So I hear something. I don't think you're outside and I don't think I'm outside. So I wonder if maybe he got connected to Bluetooth somehow somewhere.
Yeah.
Let me see what I can do.
Yeah, we can wrap it up here. Yeah, we feel comfortable and would rather work with you guys. I guess you can work something up and then we can try to get the ball rolling. I know, like you said, the 15th isn't possible for us either. But we could definitely be out before the end of the month.
Right, for sure. Definitely we want to make sure that, everything's clear for you and that you have to send over to whoever you need to be sent over to. That's my most important thing, is that, that you're comfortable, I'm comfortable. And, I think her name's Devaney. I think she mentioned that you guys got an apartment or another home somewhere already. So I just didn't want you to have 2 mortgage payments, and all that.
Yeah, we can. We haven't signed it yet, but they could get us in there by, I think, the 21st, they said.
Oh, okay.
So, we could be out, for sure by the end of the month. But obviously, we want to wait till obviously, there's other apartments around here, too, that could do it sooner. But, yeah, I think just for us to pack and stuff, that'd be the earliest date for this month. Or anytime after the 21st, or whatever works for you, or a date. So, but yeah, feel free to, I guess, you guys write it up and have him send over his, credential packet you mentioned, and then we can kind of go from there and hopefully do business.
Okay. Yeah, no, that sounds totally good. And then, if you have any more questions, actually, Joe's just getting back on here. Let me just hop him on here real quick. All right, cool. Everyone's back online
Hey,
here.
sorry about that. I lost connection.
Yeah, I was just telling Jordan. Yeah, it all sounds fine to me. I just kind of give him some date ideas. We definitely are fine being out by the month. Just not as early as the 15th, but anytime after the 21st would be fair. So if you guys want to send over your credential packet you mentioned and just whatever the deal that you're gonna write up, and we'll go from there.
That sounds great, man. Yeah, we'll be completely transparent about everything. So if you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out. There's going to be a few disclosures too that we have in there that seem all scary, like, oh, risk of foreclosure, but it's all the stuff we talked about on this call, right? Because, you know, obviously we're not taking, some people think, oh, this is a loan assumption, and it's not. You know, we're buying sub 2, so we actually make it very clear in the disclosures. We don't hide anything from you. It'll all be written out there in plain English. So if you have
Okay.
Yeah, he keeps. I think he keeps Bluetoothing somewhere. So well, it's okay. I don't think.
I have to go back to work.
No,
Yeah, sounds fine. Go ahead and work up your offer and his info, and send it on over, and we can kind of go from there, I guess.
Awesome. Sounds good, man. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to hop on this. And then what we'll do is, like I said, we'll send all that over. And then if you have any more questions, just shoot me a text, an email, a call, and we'll be totally good to go.
Yeah, thanks for obviously taking our call, because, again, we got pretty frustrated with the previous realtor in the company, just, you know, getting a bunch of these offers and trying to entertain them. To me, was kind of not right. So, but anyway, that's done with. So we signed off. We're canceled with them. So that's out of the picture. So.
And then, like I said, like we've done these type of things before. Like it's almost better. I mean, for everyone involved, whenever it's direct to the actual homeowner, the seller, just because you just put more of that back into your pocket. So, like I said, some people are like, hey, no, I'm really good friends with my realtor. We took them out of the transaction. I'm just going to give them a referral fee type thing. I didn't know what your relationship was with her, so that's why I was like, well, you know, you have the option to, you know, still give her a referral fee or something, but if not, you know, that's just more that goes back to you guys, which is totally fine.
Yep, which is what we want. So
awesome, brother. Well, thank you so much for taking the call, bro. We'll talk to you a little bit later, and I'll send all that over.
All right, sounds good.
All right, have a great day. Stay blessed.
You too.
All right, bye.
So I don't know. My phone was having some problems, but hopefully
it
you
sounded
got.
Like it was like Bluetooth into like outside or something. Like it just sounded like you're in traffic for like a little bit, but
that's so crazy, yeah. But you could hear me and everything, or what?
Yeah, no, everything was great. Like the whole phone call was good until the last parts or whatever. So,
Okay. Cool.
So like I said, guys, like this dude is a pro. Like the way he speaks, like if you took anything from his phone call, guys, it's tonality, it's patience, it's active listening, and then some. And I mean, some of the best parts of that entire phone call was, yeah, we got an offer for $70,000, you know, in pocket. That's 40,000 more than I'm offering. We trust you more. You've answered more questions directly than this other guy did.
Yeah.
So I mean, it kind of goes to what Joe was saying at the beginning of this, like, you know, Pace Morby. If you guys don't know who he is, you know, just look him up on YouTube or Google him, or, you know, join his mastermind or whatever. But the transparency is important, and that's what I really love about this community, is because a lot of people in like the realtor, you got to be part of the elite realtors to be a realtor. So, you know, a real estate agent and investor side is ethics, right? So a lot of people are like, well, it's unethical to wholesale a house. It's unethical to do creative financing. This is ethical. Like what we just did was a very transparent conversation. Nobody was forced into anything. All the answers were questioned accurately and to the best of the ability. Like if that's not the closest thing to a fiduciary duty that realtors have, that an investor just, you know, exhibited, then I don't know what is. Like there was no beating around the bush. There was like, hey, this is how it's going to be. This is how it's going to go. So if you do deals this way, and you're working with sellers this way, and you're within every ounce ethical as you can be, then this is it is what it is. This is real estate, guys.
Yeah,
and it's amazing.
Yeah, dude, agreed. I mean, I take a point, and here's the other thing, dude. Like, there's gonna be times if people who are watching this are investors who are trying to get sub 2 deals, or they've done sub 2 deals or whatever, they've done a couple. Dude, the reason why I'm super transparent is because it's better for me to be transparent. Yeah. Actually, believe it or not, I'll go in, and I've gone into deals where they were really skinny sub 2 deals. And I just told the seller straight up, kind of what I told him is, your worst case scenario is this doesn't work out and we have to do a short sale. So, I mean, I'll even talk about worst case up front, and I'll talk about, hey, there's going to be some, like you heard me, there's going to be some disclosures that you're going to see that might be scary. We'll talk about those. They're just to make sure that we do not hide anything from you.
Right.
And I've never had somebody read the disclosures and then be like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, because we're transparent up front about what they're going to read. So it helps you get more deals. It helps them understand and feel smart, that they know what they're doing and that it's a smart transaction.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we put all the precautions in our agreement to make sure it's actually in their best interest.
Yeah. And it's just, it's always a pleasure to watch you talk to these people, because it's
Thanks,
so
bro.
smooth. Like, to give you guys more background, well, maybe I can put the audio up there. From a call we did yesterday, we actually explained this very same situation to the realtor that this seller fired, just because like she needed to know more about it. So not only did like this seller's super happy, like they're very educated, but now this realtor can go into the world, hopefully, not hopefully, but like, maybe they follow their gut feeling and their career takes them to another brokerage, which inevitably will. No realtor stays with the same brokerage forever unless you are the broker. And now they can take that knowledge elsewhere, and maybe I'll even recruit them and bring them into my brokerage, onto my team.
Yep. Probably should, bro.
Yeah. But what did you think about kind of where that went? Like, what's your level of certainty on that?
I mean, 100%, right? I mean, I haven't even sent him a credibility packet. So I've got something I send out that other people who are trying to get deals, they can partner with me and then use my credibility packet with their sellers and references, so that when they are trying to get through the door with an agent or seller, they can actually put a phone number in there that the seller can call. I literally had an agent call one of my references from a deal I did, and she was like, yeah, I spoke to Alex. He said you guys did a sub-2 deal a year plus ago. The sellers never had any problems. They went great. It was awesome. So I want to move forward with you. And the reason why she moved forward with me is because I had some competition, some bigger names than me even talking to her. But the reason why she liked me is I didn't push. I just sent her my credibility packet, and then I followed up. She actually called the references on there. And now we're going to ink another deal that's sub-2 here in Arizona as well. So I think that went great, and we haven't even sent him any of our references yet.
That's so true. So it's only going to get better probably. But he did mention some interesting things though. Taxes, like based off of interest or whatever. So when, in the way that you were describing it, what did you call it? How we're gonna write out the deed, basically where the title holds it. What do we call it? Why can't I use my brain right now? Basically, so I mean, on paper, it still keeps on record.
On record, actually, there's gonna be the deed's gonna stay in his name, but also on record, recorded with the county, will be our agreement for sale. So that'll still be there, and so we can still have taxes come to the entity that purchases the home. Same with insurance stuff. And the reason why I know that is because I've sold a home basically I sold it on a land contract, actually not an agreement for sale, but same difference kind of.
Right.
But I sold a home on a land contract, and that buyer, even though the deed wasn't in their name, they still had to go and get insurance in their name. So even if the deed's not transferred, that doesn't mean that you can't insure the property now. You still can, because you have an executory contract.
And that was probably the only thing that made me nervous, was he was ready that the second that thing closed, he wanted to shut down insurance. He's like, all right, so yeah, I'll just wait till after escrow to kill the insurance. I'm like,
nah, he doesn't kill insurance. You don't want that to happen, because like I said, I had it happen. I bought a home sub-2 in Kentucky, and I brought a bunch of money to close it. And the guy canceled insurance even though he signed the disclosure that said don't do that. And turns out, huge issue with the foundation, and we couldn't insure the property, and we couldn't file a claim because it had no insurance. So I was just out of money on that deal, sadly, and I actually have to do a short sale on it right now. maybe I can get a tiny bit of money back, but I won't get even close to what I, put into it. So that's why you don't want to do it. You'll get caught in a situation like that and it won't be worth it.
Right. And that's the thing that kind of stinks. And what's always funny is like, you always hear that buyers are liars, sellers are worse type, whatever.
Mhm.
He's like, oh, there's nothing wrong with the property, so there'd be no reason doing insurance. Like, well, you don't know. Like, do you want me to do a full?
Yeah, exactly. So, but I think
yeah.
I think we even handled that question a little bit, because it's not like we want to keep his policy in place. We want to change it. It's just a matter of making sure it's done right, not getting it canceled. There's a lot of risks that come with that. So,
what are some tips you have for changing the policy? Because when I did this sub 2, I literally just called my insurance company. I was like, yeah, let's keep the seller as a other insured, but I'm the primary, and I want to make sure that if this house exploded off the face of the planet, that they get $0.00, to them as to me. And they're like, yeah, no, we got you, man. We'll put their name on there. We'll put your company name as the top.
Yep.
And we're totally cool.
I mean, that's how I do it. I just try to find a guy that knows how to write it up or has written one up, and then I use them to write it. And I'm not really even too much involved in that side of things. There's been a couple times where I've gotten insurance agents who didn't have experience with it, and we just had to walk them through it. But for the most part, you can always find someone who will insure it for you and knows the right way to do it.
And I think I got lucky on mine just because it worked out. But I mean, the only thing that changed was it amortized the loan payment a little bit. I think my insurance was more buff than what he had.
Right.
So it went up like $20. But and that's another thing. I know we've been on this thing for about an hour, and you probably gotta feed the second kid maybe. But
seriously.
With this one, and that's a whole nother video, is talking about kind of some of the trials and tribulations I went through on this property, which we all got worked out.
Yeah.
And there was a little strong arming that had to be done. There's a little give and take to get the seller to kind of play ball, because they didn't go based off the disclosures. They didn't live up to their side of the bargain, which is okay. I mean, we got it worked out. But the problem that I ran into, just to kind of give like the quick summary of it, is that loan payment changed, and I still didn't have access to the mortgage. I didn't have access to the login. So I was getting letters in the mail saying, hey, you're behind, but we can't tell you how much you're behind. Hey, we missed a payment somewhere. You owe us $6,000 now. And I'm like, well, where's that money? And, long and the short of it was they didn't pay their May bill, which they were supposed to before closing. And then I didn't know what the new number was. So I was paying their mortgage that was on like the payoff statement. But it went up $50 because my insurance changed. So I didn't know that number. But we got it all squared away. We got it all taken care of, and things are going well. But it's just one of those things. So it just shows you that the buyer and the seller are both in a very, very same situation, where if one person does not perform, then the other person is also going to get hurt. And so it was just one of those things.
Okay. Yeah, dude. I'm having a little bit of a not good time with the home I closed on sub 2 as well. Just the prior seller did not provide certain info. The title company didn't fill out all the docs they were supposed to fill out.
Sure.
So I'm going through the exact same thing right now on another one. It's just how it goes sometimes, dude.
It just shows you that, like, that sweet, sexy, I just bought a house at 2%, blah, 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 with $0 down, no cash, no credibility. It's not always sugar and sunshine. Sometimes there is a little bit of a stressor.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's definitely, there's a reason why not everybody's doing it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not just cut and dry like that. You have to do a lot. Like, I do a lot of work to get one.
There's a risk tolerance to it. Yeah.
I have to do a lot of work to get even one property closed. So it's not like we're not doing anything. We have to do a lot. And I'd say that we're providing quite a bit of value to the sellers, our rent-to-own buyers, to agents. I mean, I think the amount of money I've paid to agents and wholesalers and stuff is obscene, and sellers too. It's obscene for properties with no equity. So I think we're providing a massive value. I felt guilt about a lot of things I've done, right? We've all done things we're not proud of, but this is not one of those things. You can't you can't convince me that this is not providing value to a dozen people just in one transaction.
Totally true. And I feel that. Well, I think that was an amazing call. I think you're an amazing guy. You're
Thanks,
awesome.
man. Right back
You're
at
doing
you, bro.
great stuff for great people. And I think, yeah, I do. I think we got to have more calls. I think we got to do. There's so much knowledge that you guys could take from Joe here. And again, this dude's 24 going to 25, man. This guy just finally started growing a mustache.
Just barely, dude. This is like couple weeks. No,
But you're Italian. You're supposed to be like, you're supposed to. You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it.
I'm still going through puberty. Yeah,
it's okay. It's okay. But yeah, man, there's more stuff we could talk about. But how much time do you have left? You got to hop off. Do you got to go somewhere?
Well, let me see. I'm supposed to hop on another Zoom. Going with Tanner, actually going over our going over some of our CRM stuff, our website and things.
Yeah.
And then we'll, so we can talk until whenever that is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, whenever that is, that'd be cool to get him on a call too and talk about your business a little bit. But I mean, while we're here, I'm super fascinated by what you guys are doing. And I mean, maybe I was doing, I didn't do it a service. Maybe I'm actually explaining it wrong. But one of my goals while I got into, the investing side of real estate, because he mentioned my solar side during that call. He mentioned that I'm an agent during that call. But one of the big reasons I got into the investment side of it is because I want to hold properties that I can actually use to help people. And one of the big things I see, and I'm super empathetic for it, is I don't have 3x income for rent. I don't have. And then when like, oh, well, I'm going to co-sign with my boyfriend, my girlfriend, my husband, my wife, my mom, my dad, whatever. It's like, great. Well, now you have a co-signer. You have to have 5x income, like between the two. And so it's like, there's a lot of math there. So a lot of people are just like, they're not able to, one, take advantage of home ownership. And you're kind of giving people a nice pathway to do that. And so I guess just explain, like, what is the name of your guys' company? And, however, I know it's in its infancy. So whatever you are, open to chat about or wherever you can, that'd be great to kind of share it.
Yeah. Well, I think, the company, it's, I've been doing business for a while in this field. So in that way, it's not in its infancy. However, the actual company name and some of the infrastructure is brand new. So when I get deals, I pretty much market from my name. It's just me. It's me as the brand, and people bring me deals, or I reach out directly to people. And when they ask for credibility, I send them to my social media profiles or my credibility packet. So I'm the company on the acquisition side, but now Tanner and I are creating the disposition side, which is, if you don't know, that's for selling the properties. It's dispoing out the properties once you've acquired them. And the thing that's a little unique about what we're doing is most dispo companies are trying to assign contracts to other investors. We'll totally do that. We'll sell your deals to other investors all over the country. But the spin we're putting on it is we're actually starting to heavily market to people who want to own a home and live in it, but can't because they either have bad or no credit, they're self-employed, or they don't have a social. They're here on like an ITIN or something.
Sure. And that's one of the big reasons why I'm excited too, is because I'm a small business. Well, I don't know how many small businesses it takes to become like, just call it a large business owner. I don't know, like a massive corporation.
Yeah, dude, you've got so many companies.
You got solar, real estate, computer, this, that, marketing, blah, blah. But that's one of the things is like, I write everything off as much as I can. So whenever a bank looks at me, they're like, you don't make any money.
This guy doesn't make any money.
Yeah. So it's hard to qualify for homes. And then, I mean, my biggest thing is like lenders will sit there and be like, dude, we got you. We'll make the numbers work. We got it. But then it's like, let's do the credit check real quick. And then I do a credit check and I take a little bit of a hit. Yeah. And then they sit there. They don't give me the documents. I got to talk to my accountant. I got to do this. I got to get everyone on the same page. And then 6 months later, everyone's like, all right, we got everything we need. Let's do another credit check real quick for you, though. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. And then another document. So I'm smashing like the small business self-employed situation, which, nobody really tells you when you're starting up a company. beware. Like prepare for
Right.
that. Don't write everything off too much, but
Yeah. And
kind of,
you're sitting, you can't get approved for a bank loan, and you're now sitting in a house that you bought though with creative finance.
yeah. And
And
that's why like, yeah.
yeah. And I'm sitting in a house right now that I bought with creative finance, and I can't get a bank loan by any stretch of the imagination.
But you
So
own 16 homes or
yeah,
whatever.
I
Like
think it's like
a lot.
13. It's 13, I think.
Oh,
but yeah,
well,
I
you
own.
suck. Only 13. Wow.
Yeah, I know, it's super bad. But
But
yeah,
yeah, anyway, the people came and owned one home. So what do you do?
yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy? Like you know, let's get back to the company we started is simplestarthomes.com. You can
Okay.
go on there, and we already have a bunch of properties in there. In a bunch of different states. So like Arizona, I'm looking at it right now, Arizona, Colorado, Florida, Idaho, New Jersey, Texas. Like we got properties there that someone can actually come to the table and literally buy if they have enough of a down payment and they can afford the monthly payment.
Right.
That's all you need to do. And then you're a homeowner just like that. So guys like you who've got some money from your businesses, can't get a home loan, you can go and buy a home on there right now. And the crazy thing about this whole company is some of the properties we're offering are being offered at a lower interest rate than you could get if you had a 750 credit score and made 200,000 a year and could get approved with the bank loan. So
what was that website again? You said Simply Start Homes?
Simple Start Homes.
Simple Start Homes. Okay. SIMPLE starthomes.com. All right. And I'm going to put that up on the screen for everybody here too.
Yep.
That way, everyone gets in there. So there's the QR code, guys. If you do want to check that out, if you're seeing this and you're like, hey man, that's crazy. Like that'd be something I'm interested in. One of the things I was thinking is, and I was just driving to get coffee this morning. I was thinking about your guys' company. I was like, would there be a way? And like you said, like maybe you said it backwards, like that. I guess, what did you say? Like sell it to other investors is what you were describing?
So a lot of dispo houses are investors or marketers, I should say, that are selling a property for another investor who's a wholesaler, and they're ultimately selling it to another investor, right?
Right.
Great market. It's super saturated though, which everything is, so that's not a good excuse. What I've found is there's not enough guys marketing to the actual end buyers who want to live in a home that aren't in real estate, that just want to own a place that they can live now and pay a mortgage.
So what I was thinking while I was driving to get coffee was, would you have the house, and not the house, I guess would you have the house? Would you have the real estate? Would you have the website? I mean, for me to be like, hey dude, like I have, so say I do get this Scottsdale home, and I'm like, you know what? It's not for me. Could I put this in your guys' hands on your guys' website? And then you guys find me an end buyer. And then obviously you guys take your marketing or your assignment or whatever you want to structure it as. But could I use you as the engine to get me an end buyer? Because right now, like, I mean, I'll be super transparent. I'm green behind the ears when it comes to this level of investment, right? I can buy the properties. I have the capital to do it. I'm still getting into it. I know the real estate side of things, but like you guys, like I want to get to the part where like I'm able to note people. I'm able to hold, because that's real investing too. Like getting the properties investing, but note is also an investment. Like then you're on the financial investment side, so you're really getting a lot of the experience and a lot of the industry on both sides of the coin there. So could I be like, hey, I have a Scottsdale home. It's really awesome. It's a percent. Oh, he hopped off for a second. We'll get him back. Let me plop him back up here real quick. Womp.
Sorry, dude. I don't know what just happened.
Nah, it's too easy, man. We're all new at this streaming thing. But so could I get you I have the Scottsdale house. It's at a 4 or 5, 6% interest, whatever, sub 2. Could you get me an end buyer on this and make it so everything that this guy on the phone call was worried about is still safe with the next buyer?
Yes, exactly.
But I'm not. I don't have a problem anymore.
You can definitely do it. So I've wrapped a bunch of properties too, and there's a risk for you as the investor, which is why you go through underwriting. But ultimately, that's hopefully what we can turn this company into for investors is, hey, you bring us a property that you want to keep and turn into a long-term investment like a wrap and hold a note that pays you for 30 years interest. Then we want to be able to take that property and go market it and get you that buyer, bring that buyer to the table. And then ultimately we also want to get to a point where we're, I've actually was talking today. It's nothing's finalized, but I may be partnering in a company with someone who actually underwrites owner finance buyers. So they actually do the Dodd-Frank ability to repay approval process with these buyers. And I want to get partnered up with him in this company to actually roll it out to everybody so that guys that are bringing properties to Simple Start Homes will sell them for you, and the underwriting, we can do it all in-house. So that side of it's not there yet, but that's part of what you want to do when you're wrapping a home. You want to have the borrower approved a little differently than a bank does it, but in a way that makes your paper valuable so that you can go sell it in the future if you want to.
Okay. No, that makes sense. And that's actually something good, because I know you're going to have that question come up about Dodd-Frank Act and all that stuff. So it's good to have someone who's partnered in that situation there too. So like I said, guys, this dude is 24 years old and he's already like thinking about advanced levels of like legal investments. Like, how do I make sure that this thing is like top to bottom, left to right, in accordance with like, you know, the FTC essentially.
So, and another thing on that is, it's funny, you don't have to do that if you're not doing a lot of wraps. You don't have to go through the underwriting. However, if you don't, you're probably not going to be able to sell that note if you want to. So I recommend doing it from an investment standpoint, not just for, oh, I'm just trying to get a deal done and get some cash flow out of this deal. You can go do that and not underwrite your buyer. And hopefully you're doing things correctly. It won't come back to get you. But even more so than that, if that's not the issue, you want to do it anyway so that you have a really valuable note that you can then go and hypothecate or sell. So that's something we could talk about another time. But you can totally, you get an underwriter involved and you make more valuable paper out of it that you can capitalize on even further.
Sure. And that's super smart, brother. So like I said, if there's someone you want to know, someone you want to rub an elbow with, get a coffee or buy this dude a brio dinner or whatever, it's going to be Joe. So follow him on Instagram, follow him, go to his website, man, get him on Beyond the Blueprint, podcast. These guys are about to have so much content come out. And the only reason I know that is because I've been editing their content.
He's behind the scenes. Jordan's behind.
I'm behind Beyond the Blueprint.
Yeah.
If that even makes sense at this point. But again, there's an Instagram QR code there for Joe. Make it super simple, guys. Just go follow him, man. The guy's a great guy. The guy's super passionate about what he does. Super empathetic. The guy's a real go-giver. He actually cares about people, which is super rare in this world that we live in. So I'm very blessed to have met this dude. Our beginning wasn't rough by any means, but
it was transactional.
It was transactional, but now it's like, all right, now we're hanging out a little bit. Now we're learning some things, but I learned so much from this dude in the last week, dude. And just the connections he has, like Stephen Rockwell. If you don't know that guy, look him up, because that guy is the OG investor.
Dude, just go watch our podcast of the Stephen Rockwell one. He's huge. I shouldn't even be in the same room as that guy, but he's awesome. He's so down to earth. So
that guy is really nice. Like the way that guy was like, yeah, man, I've been effed over by so many people, but it's okay.
Good, dude, I've talked to him about some crazy stuff. Yeah, no,
I'm glad they're doing okay.
Dude, he's a different breed. That's a guy you need to know. I think everybody needs to know Stephen Rockwell. So, but dude, same Jordan,
to get him on this thing.
Yeah, dude, seriously, thanks a ton for having me, and it's been great getting to know you too, bro. I could not be more happy about how things have turned out. So
cool, brother. Well, we're gonna do a lot of deals in the future. We got a lot of stuff. We're gonna get on the stream again. We'll get Tanner on this. We'll get everybody on this. But guys, that's Joe Swingle, number 3. Swingle ready to Pringle. Joe Money. Joe Money and Tack Nasty on the live stream. But it's been awesome, brother. Thank you so much for hopping on. We'll talk again with you soon.
Of course, bro. Peace.
Later, bro. That was Joe, guys. Guy's awesome. Love him. But I got to hop off on this thing as well. If you got any value out of this, make sure you're following Joe. Make sure you're going to their podcast. Give him some love. Ask him questions in his DMs. He's going to answer them. He's going to help you. He's a go-giver, guys. That's what he does. But again, I'm Jordan Tack, your friend in real estate and solar. I hope you got something out of this, and we're going to keep you updated on the Scottsdale project. You saw how that live call went. You saw how it should be done. You're learning from a master, and the guy is, half my age. So anyway, guys, again, follow him up on Instagram. We'll be talking at you soon.